The desert, often dismissed as empty, holds secrets that have shaped the course of civilizations. Its endless sands, stretching beyond the horizon, seem lifeless at first glance, but beneath the surface lies a world teeming with stories, mysteries, and the echoes of ancient footsteps. For thousands of years, the desert has been the birthplace of some of history's greatest empires. From the shifting dunes of the Sahara to the vast Arabian Peninsula, these arid lands have witnessed the rise and fall of powerful kingdoms, each leaving their mark on the sands. These empires saw the desert not as a barrier, but as a bridge of opportunity and survival. Caravans crossed the dunes, forging connections between distant lands, carrying not just goods but ideas, culture, and innovation. The harshness that threatened life also protected armies and hid riches for those who understood the land. Desert kingdoms mastered survival, finding water in the most unlikely places, reading the stars to navigate by night, and learning to live in harmony with the relentless sun and wind. They built cities as oases along vital routes, transforming barren landscapes into thriving centers of trade and culture. These oases became lifelines, supporting travelers and merchants, and serving as beacons of hope in the vast emptiness. They adapted to the desert's rhythm, becoming part of it rather than fighting against it. Every creature, every person learned to move with the wind, to respect the cycles of heat and cool, and to find beauty in the stark simplicity of the landscape. Their power came from knowledge, adapting, innovating, and thriving where others saw only obstacles. Wisdom was passed down through generations, as elders taught the young to read the land and the sky, to trade, to negotiate, and to survive. Leaders were engineers and geographers as much as generals, building systems to manage water and move goods across unforgiving terrain. Ingenious irrigation canals and aqueducts brought life to the desert, while trade routes stitched together distant civilizations. Their legacy is etched into the landscape, challenging our view that history only happened in greener lands. The rocks and ruins tell stories of ambition, ingenuity, and the will to endure against all odds. The desert story is one of resilience and adaptation, where people achieve the incredible in the planet's most extreme conditions. Every plant that grows, every shelter that stands, is a testament to human determination and nature's adaptability. The sand holds these stories. If we look closely, we see a world that was never empty. Each grain is a fragment of history, each artifact a clue to the lives that once flourished here. The desert's silence hides epic tales of ingenuity and survival. In the quiet, we can almost hear the whispers of traders, the songs of nomads, and the dreams of those who dared to call this place home. Let's uncover the secrets written in the sands and discover the hidden heart of the desert, a place where the impossible became reality and where the past still speaks to those willing to listen. In the ancient Middle East, two titans faced off Rome and Parthia. Rome, with its roads and legions, saw the desert as a frontier to tame and control. The Romans imposed order, building forts and cities, determined to bring the desert into their world. Parthia, in contrast, was a nomadic power, masters of the horse and bow, thriving on mobility and trade. They moved with the desert, using its vastness as an ally to outmaneuver Rome. For Parthia, the desert was a weapon, exhausting and confusing their enemies. The conflict was more than military. It was a clash of philosophies, order versus adaptability. Rome tried to impose itself. Parthia let the desert work for them. In the end, the desert favored those who respected its power. The sands judged both empires. Why fight over a wasteland? At first glance, the desert seems empty, just endless sand and scorching sun. But beneath this harsh exterior lies a story of power, ambition, and survival. For centuries, the desert was the beating heart of global trade, a crossroads where civilizations met and fortunes were forged. Spices, silk, and incense crossed these vast sands, carried by caravans that braved the elements to link the distant east with the bustling markets of the west. Whoever controlled the desert controlled the flow of unimaginable wealth. Goods, ideas, and cultures all passed through these shifting dunes. Cities like Palmyra and Petra rose from the sand, thriving as bustling trade hubs. True ports on a sea of sand, where merchants from every corner of the world gathered. The Silk Road's intricate web of routes made the desert its critical junction, connecting empires and shaping the course of history. Beyond luxury goods, the desert offered rare minerals, precious stones, and prized resins like frankincense and myrrh, commodities as valuable as gold. The desert was also a formidable buffer, shielding Rome from the east and Parthia from the west. Its vastness a natural fortress against invasion. Its emptiness was a defense, not a weakness. The harsh climate and endless dunes deterred armies and protected those who knew its secrets. The struggle here was for economic dominance and strategic advantage, not just territory. Control meant influence over the world's wealth. The desert's heat shimmered with potential, not emptiness. Every sunrise promised new opportunities and new risks. Here, fortunes were made and lost overnight, and the fate of global trade was decided by those daring enough to cross the sands. Both empires understood the desert's true value, a treasure not of gold but of connection, resilience, and power. Rome's answer to the harsh, unforgiving desert was to impose order, building the Limes Arabicus, a vast network of forts, watchtowers, and outposts that stretched for hundreds of miles. This defensive line was not just a barrier, but a statement of Roman intent, to tame the wild frontier and project power deep into the arid lands. Their legendary engineering prowess transformed the landscape. Roads cut through the sand, linking distant outposts. Cisterns and aqueducts captured and carried precious water, allowing legions to move, camp, and survive where others could not. Every stone laid was a step toward making the desert a Roman domain. Roman tactics relied on the strength of heavy infantry, the discipline of tight formations, and the methodical, slow advances protected by overlapping shields. Their soldiers were trained to hold the line, no matter the conditions, and to adapt to the unique challenges of desert warfare. Water was their lifeline, logistics their greatest strength, and at times their greatest vulnerability. Every campaign depended on a steady flow of supplies, food, water, and equipment, across vast, empty distances. As long as these vital supply lines held, Rome's legions seemed unstoppable, able to project force far from home. But if those lines were cut, disaster loomed. Entire armies could be stranded, surrounded by an unforgiving wilderness. To secure their hold, Rome forged alliances with local tribes, turning former enemies into buffers and auxiliary forces. These partnerships brought valuable knowledge of the land and helped extend Roman influence beyond the reach of stone walls. Their ultimate goal was to transform the chaotic, unpredictable frontier into a stable, prosperous province, one that could be governed, taxed, and defended like any other part of the empire. The Roman strategy was a blend of patience, relentless engineering, and overwhelming force. They built, waited, and struck only when the odds were in their favor. Yet, for all their efforts, Rome could never fully conquer the desert. The land always pushed back, reclaiming forts and roads with shifting sands and relentless winds. The desert tested every Roman plan, challenging their resolve and ingenuity at every turn. Nature remained the one enemy that could not be subdued. Control was the dream, survival in the end was the reality. The frontier was a place of constant struggle, where every victory was hard-won and always temporary. The Roman eagle soared above the sands, a symbol of ambition and power, but always with caution, knowing that the desert could never truly be tamed. Parthia's strategy was chaos and mobility. Their cavalry, light horse archers and armored cataphracts, excelled in hit-and-run tactics. The famous Parthian shot and feigned retreats broke Roman formations. The desert itself was their weapon-hidden wells, secret paths, and scorched earth. Parthians poisoned wells and burned forage, forcing Romans to rely on vulnerable supplies. They avoided pitched battles, preferring attrition and exhaustion. The Parthian army could vanish into the sands, leaving Rome chasing shadows. Their aim made invasion too costly for Rome to sustain. Parthia's plan was patience and precision: strike, disappear, and let the desert do the rest. The serpent thrived where the eagle struggled. For desert dwellers, imperial wars meant constant change. Loyalties lay with city or tribe, not distant empires. When Rome ruled, taxes and customs shifted. When Parthia returned, everything changed again. Sieges, uncertainty, and shifting allegiances shaped daily life. Survival demanded diplomacy, adaptability, and multilingual skills. City leaders played both sides, carving out independence amid chaos. The war brought hardship, but also diversity. Soldiers, merchants, and officials from across the world mingled in desert cities. Cultures blended, creating vibrant cosmopolitan societies. The frontier was a place of resilience and negotiation. Life was a balancing act between two giants. The desert's people became masters of adaptation. Their world was shaped by the clash, but defined by their own ingenuity. The struggle between Rome and Parthia reshaped trade and culture far beyond the battlefield. War made land routes dangerous, pushing merchants to seek safer sea routes. Trade shifted south. Goods from India sailed to Rome and Egypt, bypassing the embattled desert. This change enriched new ports and diminished old caravan cities. Sea routes became highways for goods, ideas, and innovation. Artistic styles, religions, and technologies spread along these new channels. The conflict spurred military and engineering advances on both sides. The arms race left a legacy of innovation across continents. The desert's wars redrew the world's commercial and cultural map. The impact of the struggle echoed for centuries. The desert still bears the marks of this epic struggle. Roman ruins stand as monuments to ambition. Parthian influence lives on in culture and mobility. The frontier was a crucible for new religions. Christianity, Mithraism, and more found fertile ground here. The people forged a unique identity, blending East and West in art, language, and belief. Palmyra's brief empire was born from this spirit of independence. The desert was not just a backdrop, but an active force shaping history. The real legacy is a resilient, blended culture that outlasted both empires. History here was made by landscapes and ordinary people as much as by kings and generals. The sands created a new world of ideas, trade, and identity. The desert's unseen legacy endures. The story of Rome and Parthia is just one chapter in the desert's vast history. Beneath the sand lie forgotten kingdoms and untold stories. The desert is a library, its secrets written in ruins and relics. The challenges and adaptations of the past echo in our world today. Exploring this history reveals the resilience and creativity of humanity. Every artifact is a clue to a vibrant, dynamic past. Be curious, ask questions, seek out the stories hidden in the sand. The desert still holds mysteries waiting for discovery. Look beyond the emptiness. Imagine the caravans and cities that once thrived. The sands remember and invite us to explore their epic legacy.